Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Beau Gallagher. Last week, we put out our first installment studying the aesthetic value of the new art movement called boring. That's right, just boring. We've had a lot of discussion and a lot of controversy generated of it. Are we wasting our time? Is this really worth the field of sociology? Or perhaps we're just studying a temporary fad? To be perfectly honest, we are very much vexed by all of this information, but we still are going to move forward to study it. Now here with me today, we've got a special art student named Francisco Vega. He is also making 6, possibly even 7 figures a year annually because of his installments of boring on YouTube. He's an incredibly brilliant young man, soft-spoken, and yet can shed incredible amounts of light, vast, if you will, on the subject of boring. Come inside, sir. Francisco Vega has been studying art in the field of at the University of Philadelphia. But he is joining us here today, dedicating his very, very valuable time to talk about the field of boring. Mr. Vega, would you care to enlighten our viewers and those professors out there, such as myself, who are studying this groundbreaking new field? A man of few words, but a genius at heart. Mr. Vega, I am now going to test this new field of boring to see how you yourself approach it and analyze just how useful and how quantitatively boring something is. I'm going to hold up a few objects, and you can tell me, and of course the viewers, how much you think boring or not boring this item is. First, we have a regular bell ringer that you might see in an old-timey hotel or in certain stores that still employ it. Tell me, what do you feel about this object? Apparently we have a so-so type of boring. Sir, the next item appears to be a regular desk pen. How do you feel? Boring or interesting? We have a winner. I now have a pair of what appears to be cuticle trimmers, or rather nail trimmers, possibly even for hair around the ears. It's a very simple, narrow pair of scissors. How do you feel? It appears as though these pair of scissors are trimming away his expectations. And now, the pièce de résistance, as the French say, a generic, gray, faded boater hat. Tell me, sir, boring or interesting? Again, another form of approval from our young artistic savant. It just goes to show that boring is a little bit more difficult. Simply finding something that you might think is interesting or perhaps uninteresting depending on the situation is a little bit more difficult. This young man here has given his state of approval, and who knows, maybe it's just the kind of thing that'll add to his very furthering bank account. And now we will switch to a new subject. Talking about the subject of boring has taken me on a very strange journey. Precisely where will it end up? Who knows? Any artistic field is never proven to be an easy thing to study. I'm assuming when people talk to Picasso, when he painted the famous Guernica, after the famous explosions and murders that took place in the early 20s of the Spanish fascist movement, people would have said the same thing. Why would you paint this very odd piece of painting? Why would you depict things in such an odd fashion? But I think that even Picasso would defend his artistic merits as a painter and say, I'm trying to say something, and if you can't interpret it, well, that's your own dang fault. Here we have a young man who is mimicking the brilliance of Picasso himself. Now, he may not have a paintbrush or a canvas, but the reality is he is saying more in these very, very infantile motions with a very juvenile fake weapon that obviously is never going to become a real Jedi lightsaber. This young man here is obviously filled with artistic bursts of energy that he is turning into what we can only deem genius. When there is a point of moment that we can break, we can talk to Mr. Vega to see why he has chosen this form of expression, to determine what is boring about it and why boring in general. Mr. Vega, what do you feel regarding this boring motion that you're doing? Do you feel that it adds to the aesthetic essence of boring itself? Or do you feel that you yourself are merely embodying the very nature of boring? Well, folks, it seems as though genius sometimes is best left unexplained.